friends, welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are all doing really well. So it is a very chilly Sunday here. It's February 2nd currently. So Sunday, just kind of chilling out, doing some bookish things. And I'm putting together my pile of possibilities for February. So February is going to be a very busy month for me. And I'm taking part in 2 readathons that are kind of part of that. So there always seems to be so many readathons that go on this time of year, you know, with everyone being home and cozied up and, you know, all the things. So I decided to only take part in 2. Of course, one of them I am a co-host again this year for the Gothic Hearts Reading Challenge, so super excited about that. I'm always super excited to co-host that particular reading vlog because, of course, you know, the Gothic is just what I'm all about. So I'm going to go over my pile of possibilities for the Gothic Hearts. I don't think I'm going to do any suggestions this year because a lot of the prompts are not book or movie related. It's really creative this year, and you know, the couple of reading prompts that we do have are very widespread, so you can pretty much pick up anything that has to do with the Gothic and it will fit into one of the prompts. So I'm just going to go through my pile of possibilities for that, and by that I mean that I don't usually do a set TBR anymore. I'm very much a mood reader, and I usually try to stay within the genre or the mood that I'm trying to go for in a particular month. But if I am taking part in readathons and stuff like that, I will do piles of possibilities. So just things that I'm feeling like I might pick up, but of course it could change throughout the month as well. So I'm going to go through my pile of possibilities for the Gothic Hearts, and also my friend Andrew from A Came From The Page is also doing a very laid back readathon this month as well, which I'm going to be doing not all but some of the prompts. So I didn't want to do just Gothic this month. I wanted to kind of branch out, and his readathon fits in perfectly with the fact that I'm getting back into my reading after having a full year of being in a reading slump. So super excited about all of these. I feel like my camera's a little bit high. If you guys didn't watch my most recent videos, I have moved my desk over in front of the library, and I'm kind of playing around with the camera angles to see what will work best. So bear with me because I'm going to make an adjustment here. Okay, I think this is a little bit better. I also went in and turned off my dryer. Like I said, I'm filming this on Sunday, and Sunday is all about getting the chores done that I didn't get done during the week. So we're going to hop in here really quickly. So I'm going to review the book prompts first for the Gothic Hearts, and then get into my pile of possibilities. I'm not going to go through all of the prompts because that is in my announcement video. So if you haven't seen the prompts for the Gothic Hearts and you would like to join in, I will have that video linked down below. Okay, so one thing that I love about this particular readathon is we always say, or typically we will say you can read a book, short story, or poem for each one of the prompts, so you don't have to feel like you're looped into, you know, books that are full-length novels. So very laid back, something that I really love about this particular readathon. So we have prompt number 1 is Shadowed Hearts. Read a Gothic book, short story, or poem featuring a dark romance. Of course, that is one of the main sort of themes that runs through the Gothic inherently. The next book prompt is Dark Castle. Read a Gothic book, short story, or poem featuring a castle or mansion. Again, very inherently Gothic. And then Hymns of Shadows. Read a Gothic book, short story, or poem with a religious theme. Now, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with this one because typically I will read religious horror, possession, occult type horror. I usually read that in May, so it's a little bit outside of what I want to be into this month, but I think I did find something that will kind of loosely fit into that, and so really super excited about that. And then all of the other prompts, there's 8 prompts in total, are all based on activities. And one thing that's really cool about this is that you can also loop in movies. Like if you wanted to read a traditional Gothic book like Carmilla or Dracula, something like that, and then watch Nosferatu. Oscars are coming up this month, so that is it this month? I believe Oscars are in February, so that would be a good choice, either the 2024 version, or if you have never seen the 1922 version of Nosferatu, it's actually really good. And then, you know, if you wanted to read Jane Eyre to fit into the mansion sort of theme, then you can watch the movie My Particular favorite is the version of Jane Eyre with Kieran Hines, who plays Mr. Rochester. So that would be my recommendation for that one. I said I wasn't going to do recommendation, but just very, very loosely, those are a couple that are just quick suggestions that you could fit into here. So I'm going to jump into my pile of possibilities, and first I want to do the ones that fit kind of outside of the prompts a little bit, because I do have a couple of things that I want to read outside of that. So first of all, I did say this in my announcement video, but I'll say it here again. I am planning on reading Gothic Life, The Essential Guide to Macabre Style by Aurelio Voltaire. I did have this in my TBR for the fall. When did this book come out? I think it was like last summer, maybe. And I couldn't wait to read it, and I just haven't gotten to it, but I am gearing up now that we're kind of, you know, over the hump of the holidays and everything, and I've had a little bit of a break. We're gearing up again to do some more house renovations, and I think this would be perfectly fit in. So I just love the cover too. So it does have like all of the look and feel of everything that I want to be into this month, and I think this will fit in really well with some of the vlogs that I would like to do. So I will be vlogging as much as I can throughout the month of February. I'm horrible at vlogging, but I really need to get over my whole thought of I'm not going to post this because I think it really sucks, because I'm sure, you know, there's people out there who would enjoy it, and I'm always like my own worst critic. So this I'm really, really excited for. And if you've never, oh wow, Edgar Allan Poe, look at that. And if you've never picked up this book, just look at the imagery. Look at that. That's gorgeous. Like, oh my goodness. So definitely something that I think will fit in perfectly with sort of what I want to do with my renovations and getting ideas and stuff like that. Now that we're through, it is in bulk. So it was in bulk yesterday and today. So really starting to get into, you know, we're past the hump of midwinter and get into starting to do things around the home. So that's the first one that I want to do that kind of is outside of the prompts of either one of the readathons. And then the other thing I did want to mention, the February pick for the Haunted Victorian Book Club. So if you don't know, I do run a book club that is Gothic themed, so it will fit in perfectly for this month. And we are going to be reading The Poison Thread by Laura Purcell. So if you haven't seen my winter picks for the book club, I'm going to link that video down below as well. But just very, very quickly, because I don't want this video to be too long, that particular book, I'm super excited because it has themes of phrenology from sort of Victorian England, and there's one young woman who believes that her stitches, she's a seamstress, have the power to kill. And you know, it's kind of like this dual sort of perspective of, you know, a young woman who is poor and she's in jail as a murderess, and another young woman, I'm thinking they're around the same age, who is really interested in phrenology and the size of a person's skull, having to do with their personalities and stuff. And she starts, I believe, volunteering at the women's jail, and they end up connecting. So really, really excited about the themes in that. So if you want to hear more about the February pick, along with what we read in January and what's upcoming in March, I'll leave that video linked down below as well. Also, very quickly, I just wanted to mention in January we did read The London Seance Society by Sarah Penner, and we will have the discussion coming up next weekend. I think it's February 8th. So I will put out the exact date and time. But that discussion will also wrap into the whole Gothic theme of February. So if you're into that and you have read that book and you want to join into the live discussion, I will have the information posted here very, very shortly. We haven't completely finalized because I do have a guest host that's going to be coming on. So that's going to be coming up in February as well. And then lastly, I had totally forgotten about this one when I was doing my pile of possibilities, and then it just popped into my head. I did recently haul this book. It's an Avi book, and it's called The Man Who Was Poe. And I think tying into the Gothic hearts and tying into the fact that Poe's birthday, posthumous birthday, was not long ago in January, I think this will be a perfect thing to put in, at least for my pile of possibilities. So you have this young man here like in this cemetery, and then you have Poe up above. So I'll just go through the synopsis very, very quickly. And even though this doesn't directly fit into any of the prompts, I think this one will be really, really cool. It's not long at all. And of course, it's like a middle grade book. So I think this will be easy read. The old city lay dark and cold. It is night, and Edmund is alone. His mother is gone. His aunt who went in search of her is dead. His sister has disappeared, and Edmund has no one, except for a stranger of the night who flees from demons of his own, who follows Edmund with grim determination through the cold and shadowy city, promising to help, but often hindering. A stranger who needs Edmund for a purpose of his own. So I've only read one Ovi book before, but it was actually really good. So this sounds like it has all of the dark and creepy and, you know, the themes of Poe and everything, and just the cover. I think it'll just fit in perfectly. So it doesn't actually fit in with the prompt specifically, but definitely something that I wanted to pick up just because it has all of those Gothic feels. So getting into choices for kind of the dark romance sort of spin on the Gothic, I did pick up this kind of traditional Gothic paperback earlier, well, not this year, late in 2024. It's a Signet Gothic from, I believe, the 70s. Let's just check here. Yes, 1970s. So here we have The Death of Jason Darby by Georgia Elizabeth Taylor, the successful novel of a fated and haunting love. Look at this. So that traditional sort of vintage Gothic sort of paperback cover. And then I love the sound of the story. Also very, very short, which I'm super excited about. So it says, The Fateful Embrace. Who was the mysterious man who appeared in Benjamin Thorne's dreams, who began to be master of his waking life? Who was the beautiful woman who appeared nightly in Benjamin Thorne's rooms, who drew him into her avid embrace, who claimed to be a lady long mouldering in her tomb? In an isolated manor in the north of England, a handsome tormented man, a bewitching young girl, and a diabolical curse from the undead past combine to ensure that you will never forget the shattering truth about the death of Jason Darby. So this almost feels like it could fit in with that sort of religious theme, but definitely something that I wanted to pick up because it is that traditional Gothic with the traditional cover. I mean, we have this damsel, we have the brooding man in his cloak, and the castle with a spooky tree and a full moon and everything off in the background. This is absolutely everything that I want. And like I said, it is fairly short, but the text is a little bit tiny, so I'm hoping that that won't cause me any problems. But this sounds absolutely perfect. And then getting into the Gothic with a religious theme, this one might fit into there. I do have two choices. I'm pretty sure which one that I want to go with, but we'll see how it goes. So the first choice is Blood Farm by Sam Siciliano, and I picked this one up actually when I was doing my tour of my adult horror shelf because I had completely forgotten about it, and because the Gothic Hearts was coming up, I was like, oh, that'll fit in perfectly. And this is one of my favorite covers in my entire collection. So we have the font up top is beautiful in this blood red, and it is embossed, and down here you have this spooky house again with the full moon in the background and a hearse in the foreground. I mean, it just has all of the feels. So just very quickly on the back, it says, Unholy Ghosts. It was a dark and stormy night, and Angela's only hope for a ride was in a hearse. Her driver is Mike, a long-haired Vietnam vet who has a pressing rendezvous with a corpse. Somewhere in the night, a scream pierced the air. Was it Angela in the grip of an icy terror that struck with heart-stopping brutality? Or the gruesome victory cry of Satan's emissaries, gorging on the blood and beauty of Blood Farm's newest guests? For the undead, with their unspeakable needs and insatiable passions, belong to an exclusive club that is always looking for fresh blood. So that definitely has sort of this religious theme wound in. It has the spooky mansion on the front. It sounds absolutely perfect. And the text doesn't seem too small. So really, really super excited for this one. I'm actually going to see if I can get it on audio so I don't have to crease up my physical copy anymore because this one is out of print, obviously, but we'll see. And on the front it says, The harvest of Blood Farm is pure terror. So that sounds really, really good. And then the second choice that I have, and the reason I picked this one was purely because of the cover. It's a very occult looking cover. And the second reason was because it's a Barbara Michaels book, and I haven't read any Barbara Michaels before. I found a whole slew of her books at the thrift store last year, and this was among them. This is one of my favorite covers of the ones that I picked up. So Sorry about that. Hopefully you can see without too much glare. So we have the, is this a pentagram? Yes, we have a pentagram on the floor with the black handles and the cat in the background with his arched back. Just very, very quickly, it says on the back, a mysterious visitor from England has come to the exclusive and captivating town of Middleburg, Maryland. And when this handsome stranger becomes a bit too involved with the beautiful Tiffany Blake, the local villagers fear the revelation of dark secrets. Secrets of the living and the dead, which can only be resolved by the great prince himself. So that sounds really, really good. And I'm super excited to finally pick up some Barbara Michaels. So that really kind of fits in with that whole religious horror sort of theme. And then along the same lines, if that one is not really appealing to me, I did pick this one. I think it sounds really super intriguing, and because I love the cover. So this is the second Barbara Michaels that I have in my pile of possibilities. I'm highly likely not going to read both, but I did want to pick up and try her during this month. So first of all, we have this horse-drawn carriage on the front. So this is Other Worlds. And so we have this horse-drawn carriage with the gas lamp, and it has this purple theme, and purple is my favorite color, as we know. And it opens up to this beautiful image on the inside. So it does have step back cover art, and it says, an unusual blend of mystery, suspense, and the occult. So this actually could fit into that religious theme as well. So this sounds really, really good. And it sounds really interesting. So there's some famous names sort of looped in here. So it says, on a foggy evening, the most famous crime specialists in the world meet in an exclusive club to battle wits over two tantalizing unsolved cases of ghostly terror. Those present include Harry Houdini, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, psychoanalyst Nandor Fodder, and a writer who rivals them all with her sleuthing talent. These masters of mystery are about to put their minds to the pair of ghoulish stories of families beset by poltergeistly pranks and bewitched by inexplicable horrors. Gripping puzzles, yes, but the terror of these tales is all too vicious and all too real. So for the first story, it says, in the hollows of Tennessee, a family is threatened by a dire spirit whose warnings of despair and death come frighteningly true. And the second story, in a small Connecticut town, a newly married widow and her children move into her second husband's home to find their lives possessed by an unimaginable demon. So again, this one could actually fit into that religious sort of theme too. So all of these books actually, funny enough, can fit into the prompt that I didn't know if I was going to be able to fulfill. So just reading these, I'm really super excited. And so I will be getting to at least one of Barbara Michaels' books during February. And if you guys saw my last video, you'll know that I was talking about how crappy this chair is, and it keeps sinking. So if I look like I'm going up and down during the video, it's because of this chair. So I just had to adjust it again. For some short stories, so in case I do get a little bit tired of the novels and I want to pick up some short stories, I do have this one, Ghosts by Gaslight, edited by Jack Dan and Nick Gervers, stories of steampunk and supernatural suspense. So this is one that I've had on my shelf for quite some time, and I'm really super excited to pick it up. So it's an anthology with different authors. And it says, 17 all-new stories illuminate the steampunk world of fog and fear. Modern masters of the supernatural weave their magic to revitalize the chilling Victorian and Edwardian ghostly tales. Here are haunted houses, arcane inventions, spirits reaching across the centuries, ghosts in the machine, faithful revelations, gaslit streets, scarcely keeping the dark at bay, and other twisted variations on the immortal classics that frighten us all still. So this sounds really, really good. And I know that there's going to be stories in here that definitely fit in with the themes, the reading prompts of the Gothic Hearts. So sorry you can't see the cover very well. It's kind of washed out there. But definitely all the spooky that I'm looking for as well. And then last but not least, I did want to throw this one in here because it's not part of my vintage collection. It is a newer book and it's been on my shelf for so freaking long. I got this one out of the Abominable Book Club box years ago, and I think it's made it onto every single TBR that I've had that has to do with the Gothic, and I still haven't read it. So this is The House of 100 Whispers by Graham Masterton, and I love the cover on this book with the spooky trees. So this could fit in with the whole mansion prompt. So I wanted to put this one in here. Not sure if I'm going to get to it. We all know that coming out of a reading slump, we don't want to throw ourselves back in there with having too much on our plates. But I'll just go through the first part of the synopsis very quickly. On a windswept moor, an old house guards its secrets. All Hallows Hall is a rambling Tudor mansion on the edge of a bleak and misty moor. It is not a place many would choose to live, yet the former governor of Dartmoor Prison did just that. Now he's dead, and his children, long estranged, are set to inherit his estate. So it has everything, the family sort of drama, old haunted house on the English moors with the mist and the fog and the creepy. So I'll try to get to this one because it's something that I also want to unhaul as well to make more space on my shelves. So we'll see. We'll see if I can get to this one, because I've only just talked about my Gothic books for February. I haven't even gotten into the other reading prompts yet. So like I said, I also want to take part in a readathon that my friend Andrew from It Came From the Page put together. And this is also very, very laid back, but it's also hearkening into what I want to be doing this at the beginning of 2025, because in 2024 I was in such a bad reading slump and I set aside or soft DNF'd or stopped reading certain things, and this is absolutely perfect for me to be able to pick up books that I've set aside and I really need to get to. So I don't think I'm going to read something for every single prompt, but there's also a lot of crossover that could happen in here as well, and I thought this was a perfect way for me to achieve my goal of getting some of these books read. So just very quickly, and I love the way that he did the prompts on like VHS tapes. I'll have his video linked down below if you want to go see it, by the way. So prompt number 1 is Back to the Future. Read a book that you soft DNF'd. And this one is going to cross over into another prompt as well. So I've been talking about this book for like months, and I am the last person who you would think that hasn't finished this, because it's the third book in Kendara Blake's Buffy sort of universe, and I couldn't wait for this book to come out. The first 2 were 5-star reads. They were on my best reads of you know, the previous years, I believe 2023 and 2024, and you know, I keep setting it aside, and it's not that I'm not enjoying it, it just has to do with my reading slump. So definitely going to pick this one up for that particular prompt, and like I said, for one of the other ones as well. And then for the next prompt, I'm actually going to use one of my choices for the Gothic Hearts to fit into this one. So primer, read the book you've owned the longest without reading. So I am going to choose House of 100 Whispers by Graham Masterton. We'll see if the fact that it's on prompts for both the Gothic Hearts and this particular readathon, if I can actually get to it. I might not. Like I said, this one is completely up in the air, but it does fit into both readathons, so I might pick this one up. Like I said, I got it in an Abominable Book Club box ages ago, like way back when I was first doing this channel, so I'm really going to try to pick it up. And the next is Time Crimes. Read a book you've read, but in a different format. So, you know, if you've originally read it physically, you can read it in an audiobook or ebook or whatever. So for that one, because I really did want to pick up this book again and give it a read, because I love rock and roll history, especially when it comes to the 60s. And of course it has that occult element, so it can wrap in with that whole theme of like religious Gothic as well. And that is Season of the Witch, How the Occult Saved Rock and Roll by Peter Bebergal. So I did have this originally in hardcover. I bought a copy for myself and I bought a copy for my mom, and we read it a couple of years ago and both of us really enjoyed it. And I did want to read it again. I go through these, I'm always into the 50s and 60s, but I go through these stints of where I want to read some nonfiction books that have to do with that time period. So I think this is the perfect opportunity for me to go ahead and pick up that book again. And I actually got this one recommended to me by Regina St. Clair, who is one of my co-hosts for the Gothic Hearts. She's very much into sort of the 50s and 60s sort of style and music and all of that kind of thing. So I did want to go ahead and pick this one up. So I'm going to read it on audio this time. They do have it on Everand, so if you do have an Everand membership, you can get it on there. Next prompt, Happy Death Day. Reread a book you've already reread. So this will be at least the third time around. So a lot of you guys know that the Last Apprentice series by Joseph Delaney is one of my favorite series of all time. I absolutely love it. I think it's like a middle grade series, but they're not afraid to get into the spooky. They're not afraid to get into like having things that are a little bit graphic. And it has a lot to do with folklore of the UK and stuff. So you can kind of dig into some folklore and legends and everything when you're reading this series, but it's also really imaginative and you sink into it. And I love this series. I've read it twice now, almost all the way through. Each time I've stopped at a different spot. And the last time I stopped at book 7. So I did look up on my shelf because I couldn't even remember where I stopped the last time. So we're going to pick up book 8. So this will be it'll be my third time reading this one. Yes, so it does fit in because I usually get to, I think the furthest I've gotten in that series now is book 12. So this one will definitely fit in. So this is The Last Apprentice, book 8, Rage of the Fallen. So this kind of revolves around this young man. His name is Tom Ward. He's the 7th son of a 7th son. And he becomes the apprentice to the local spook. Now the spook is someone who is kind of solitary. He's very much living in the shadows. He doesn't have a whole lot to do with society, but people call him when they have problems with supernatural creatures, boggarts, ghosts, witches, all of that kind of stuff. And it takes place, it doesn't say kind of when it takes place, but I would imagine it's kind of 1800s sort of time frame. I think, you know, it's candles and gas lamps and all of that sort of thing. And so it's their adventures trying to rid the counties of these creatures, and it has all kinds of adventure in it. So I really love this series, and I'm I'm dead set on actually finishing it. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick up book 8 in that one so I can continue on and try to get that series finished this year. And the next one, Time Machine, continuous short story collection you started but didn't finish. Now, I'm not going to pick up something I've already read for this particular one, but The Ghosts by Gaslight is something that I've owned for a really long time, so I want to try to read a couple of stories out of that one, at least to see if I like it, and then I can continue on another time. And next prompt, it says, Groundhog Day, reread a book you didn't like but think your opinion will change. So I'm not going to read for that prompt either, mainly because I don't want to throw myself back into that slump by reading something that, you know, I didn't really like the first time around. So I'm being a little bit picky and choosy with these ones. Next prompt, Judgment Day. Read a sequel or the next book in the series that you love. So, of course, the Last Apprentice book does fit in with that prompt, but a second choice that I'm going to throw into this pile of possibilities as well. We'll see how my reading goes for this month. I was really happy with January, so we'll see how it goes. But one that I have been waiting to read, and it just keeps slipping down the list, is the third book in the Hex Hall series. And I read the first 2 books last year, or it might have even been in late 2023, and I really enjoyed them. And you know, I just haven't read the third one yet, and it just keeps falling down the list. So I'm going to throw that one on there as well. And then the last prompt, Time After Time, read a TBR vet. So I mean, either of these books could fit in. Like I say, every single time I do a Gothic themed TBR, this one is on it, or like, you know, my Samhain TBR or whatever. And then if I don't finish this book soon, my fellow Buffy fans, I'm sure are going to absolutely kill me. So this one, TBR vet, I keep talking about it, I keep saying I'm going to read it, and then I never ever do. So a little bit of crossover there, but I thought I would use Andrew's readathon as sort of something to bolster my goal of finishing up books that are just sitting around and that I haven't picked up. So really super excited about that. And then besides that, like I say, I'm going to be vlogging a lot. I'm spending a lot of time with Matthew. We're going to be watching a lot of movies in February because there's another event that I'm taking part in that I have to do some movie watching for. I'm not going to announce what that is because it hasn't come out. And then there's a writing project that I'm working on. Also, I do have over my community tab and on my Instagram that I'm going to be doing a Q&A coming up here. We're almost at 1,200 subscribers on the channel. Super excited. But I just haven't done a Q&A in a really long time. So if you do have any questions you would like to ask me, you can put them down below in the comment section here if you didn't see the other posts. And other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Leave me a question or a comment down below because you know, chatting with you guys. But until next time, stay spooky, everybody. Bye.